a short love story titled Where There's Unity, God Commands a Blessing by Pastor Brian Chisanga. This story is about a young couple whose faith got tested. Follow the story to the end and see what happened to their marriage. A very touchy story. Tasha and David had always believed in the power of love, but their faith was being tested. Married young and full of dreams, they had envisioned a life of abundance. Instead, they found themselves in a modest one-bedroom apartment with more bills than they could count and less income than they needed. David worked long hours at a factory, while Tasha stitched clothes for a small tailoring shop. There were days they barely had enough money for food, but they never blamed each other. Instead, they prayed together every night, holding hands tightly as they whispered their needs to God. Their favorite verse was Psalm 133, verses 1 to 3. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. For there the Lord commands his blessing, even life forevermore. They clung to this promise, believing that their unity would somehow bring God's blessings. One particularly cold winter night, the heat in their apartment failed. They couldn't afford to repair it, so they huddled together under a thin blanket. David kissed Tasha's forehead and said, "We'll get through this, together." She nodded, though tears streaked her cheeks. Despite the struggles, they refused to let bitterness take root. They encouraged each other, prayed for each other, and reminded each other of God's faithfulness. Months turned into years, and though their financial situation didn't improve, their love deepened. Tasha's laughter became David's favorite sound, and David's unwavering optimism was Tasha's anchor. Friends often marveled at how happy they seemed despite their hardships. Then one day everything changed. David was at work when the factory manager called him into the office. "David," the manager said, "we're promoting you to supervisor position. Your work ethic and integrity haven't gone unnoticed." The new position came with a significant raise. At the same time, Tasha's sewing caught the attention of a boutique owner who offered her a contract to design a custom clothing line. Within months, their income had doubled, then tripled. They paid off their debts, moved into a cozy home, and finally experienced the financial freedom they had long prayed for. As they sat in their new living room, Tasha turned to David with tears in her eyes. "Do you think this is what Psalm 133 meant? That because we stayed united, God commanded his blessing?" David nodded. "Absolutely. We didn't let our struggles divide us, and God honored that." From then on, they used their abundance to bless others. They donated to charities, helped struggling families, and shared their testimony of how God turned their ashes into beauty. Tasha and David knew their story was a testament to the power of unity and God's faithfulness to his word.
So guys, you see, David and Tasha's journey reminds us that no test in life is too great when love is steadfast, unity is unbroken, and faith is unwavering. Their story shows us that challenges don't have the final say, God does. If you're in a season of struggle, let their testimony encourage you, hold on to faith, lean into each other, and trust in God's timing. Just as he commanded a blessing over David and Tasha, he can and will do the same for you. Keep standing together, because where there is unity, the Lord commands his favor and provision. Your breakthrough might be closer than you think. Stay the course and believe. Victory is on the other side of your faith.